Into our Frontrunner Football channel on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. The name is Gamzambata. As we did yesterday, after reflecting on the two games that happened, the true draws between Orlando Pirates, who are up against TS Galaxy, and then you, of course, had Baroka in action against Kaizer Chiefs. Those ended in a 1-1 draw, both those games. And today, the one game that was supposed to happen with Bloem Celtic, that was cancelled because of a waterlogged pitch down in the Free State. And then the game that happened and went on the go regardless saw Black Leopards playing host to Mamelodi Sundowns. And in the end, Mamelodi Sundowns, albeit with 10 men, rescued all 3 points in that one and ran out 2-1 winners in the end. I have Calvin Sosibo and Shway Walters joining me to go through that one encounter. It was supposed to be two, but we weren't to know that it was going to be cancelled at the last minute. So we'll focus in on the team now that are sitting at the top of the table. Shway, welcome to the chat. I had Calvin with us last night. So let's start with you. Your impressions on that one, the encounter between Sundowns and Black Leopards. Sundowns in the end showing why the team tilted towards heading to the title, defending it, and obviously looking good to win it, when with 10 men they were still able to get a good result. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. We're also just glad that Lifa Khulonwane is, there hasn't been any serious injuries with him. Looks like there was, it was quite bad, the clash with his teammates. So we're kind of just happy that, we'll hopefully see him back on the field soon. Yeah, I think it was, Sundowns was just obviously showing the experience and the class for, winning games. A lot of, I think, CAF experience was shown in this game, or how to manage the game. And yeah, I wasn't too happy with the way Black Leopards did. They just showed the naivety. I think the changes from the coach is also a little bit questionable. Yes, I understand. There was about 4 of the changes that was forced, but I believe that the strong point was on the left hand side, and they had to continue with the left footer on when they took Kabwe off. And Kabwe came, he created another chance for Karuru, which I think he should have buried, the free header. And yeah, I think Sundowns at the end of the day just took their chances. I was a little bit curious to look at when I saw the starting 11 for Sundowns. I mean, seeing Shalolile and Erasmus, I was actually looking forward to actually seeing somebody like Serino, because between him and Zwane, and if you look in the first half, I think Zwane was a little bit not out of the game, trying to get into the game, but he didn't have that link and that partnership like he normally has with with a Serino or even a Mbala, for that matter. And I think that's what they needed in a game like this. I wouldn't have gone with 2 out-and-out strikers. I would have looked more with a Serino type of player where they could make combination plays and then get through Black Leopards' defense. Black Leopards did, however, come to the party, I think.
Okay, Calvin, I mean, your thoughts on that one? Shoaib raises some good points that as how they set up their stall, Mamelodi Sundowns, he didn't kind of understand why they went with the 2 strikers. Do you maybe understand why the coaches went with that decision?
Yeah, on my side, I think the reason why he went with the 2 strikers was to forcefully put the Leopards under pressure, because he knew that the Leopards play within a reinforced defense, which is they're going to come at a higher tempo, even though it wasn't a good game to watch because of the pitch that played a role. A field made the game to be very, very scrappy. But anyway, it was favoring more of Leopards, because Leopards knew the field more than Sundowns. So defensively, how they set up with an overload at the back, they certainly knew that if they were going to come with Chaulile, who's a hard runner, so they tried to actually create a block for them not to make those runs in behind and try to find those penetrated spaces into the dangerous areas. So applying 2 strikers at this game, it was just to actually to shift the attention, because if you saw Kemit Erasmus was more of a striker that drifts to the side, tried to break the defense of Leopards apart.
Okay. I mean, were you surprised that it was, I guess, the home side that took the lead in this one, considering, I mean, people will say, like, even the keeper, King, was saying that we're going to show them, we're going to come out and play and try and impose ourselves on this game. But, they had a foothold, but you just kind of saw it slipping away. Why do you think they almost, took the foot off the gas in certain respects, Black Leopards, when they made such a good start to the game?
On my side, I think what actually made Leopards to actually to lose the match was in these departments. When they scored, they started actually they started defending too deep. They thought maybe they had the game at the back. They had the game. They had the game from Sundowns, and which was quite surprisingly, even when they got the red card as well. It was immediately when Sundowns pulled one back. Only then the Leopards now were making more errors than when how they started. So I think within them they should have actually persistently tried to apply the same game tempo that they had, maintain pressure on Sundowns. Because if you look at Sundowns set up at the back, they were playing a three at the back, which is most of those players that were there, they were not playing on the national position, which we only had Lebusa and you had Langerman, and then you had Mvala, who was the young Kize that started.
Right.
So I would have exploited that, and if I was a coach, I would have actually seen that and exploited that and tried to put more gas into the final third because they were going to make a lot of mistakes. Sunderland was playing more of a second ball, and then they tried to actually to break on counter-attacks because what they saw was with the reinforced defense, what do you do? What are the solutions to break that team apart? Which is exactly what they did. They tried to go on the side, isolate defenders, break the defensive line, and then that's how Shaulile got the goal.
I mean, Shoaib, the coach was kind of bemoaning, though, Coach Mangoba, that's, it's almost as if, when when they win a man down, that's when they actually started kind of playing and, filling the gaps and almost taking, the game by the scruff of its neck. And he's also bemoaning the fact that the kind of goals that they're conceding are unbecoming of a team that are trying to, obviously be the team at the top, which they can still do by outscoring the other team. But he's, such a perfectionist. He's looking to make sure that they tighten those things up. What have you made in terms of the defense? I mean, we speak about Mkiza coming in today. Obviously, I don't know, like Calvin is saying, was everyone playing in their natural position? They were having to bring in Mvala, who we've seen at the back is credible. But obviously now with the red card today, will be out for the next game. What have you made of the defensive project? We speak a lot about the likes of Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs and what their defense is doing. What is your summation of the Sundowns one so far this season and in today's game?
Yeah, I think when Sundowns high pressure game is not working for them. Then they sit a lot deep. But I also think that today you could see the guys. I don't know if it looked a little bit like a fatigue. Like there was just no energy in the team. And I think that is what Mangoba is talking about. And he's obviously been with the team throughout now, and he will know the load that obviously and the amount of games that they're playing, and you can't play every game at a high tempo. And I think also the field wasn't helping much. So I think he just wanted at least to see a little bit of more energy from most of the players. I mean, you have Shalulile that could run, for days up front, and he could chase and he could try and block. And he just maybe wanted that energy to rub off on the rest of the team. And I think the rest of the team, I mean, for just a perfect example, if you look 47th minute in the last 4 minutes of the first half, I mean, Langerman was walking to the corner flag to go take, like he was looking for a half time, and that is maybe what was more concerning is like Sundowns wasn't looking for a goal. They were just hoping that they were going to get a mistake from Black Leopards, and that is how the goal was going to come. So it's almost like those games where most of the coaches, when they go and play up into Yando, they have their team that just rock up and just expect, when I rock up now, I'm just going to get the 3 points with no energy and just rely on one individual or this individual. And I think that is what he was, mentioning or trying to the message that he wanted to get across. With regards to Mvala now, obviously, you know what? I think he had to do it because Ramakalela was one-on-one with Dennis and Young, and I'm sure you'd have probably just laid it off for Kabwe because Kabwe was right next to him. So that was going to be a guaranteed goal. He had to make a decision at that time, whether to, because that for me would have been a goal. I don't see anything else but a goal happening there. Are we going to play with 11 men and chase the game, or am I actually just going to keep my team in the game with a 1-1? Back on Leopards, I felt that when they scored the goal, like Calvin was saying, yes, they did go back. And they just defended to deep. They actually didn't even defend. They just said, we're going to go drop and allow pressure to come. And you can't do that. I mean, that is how Sereno got the cross in, and Shalulile got the from the block. He got the rebound, and then he obviously volleyed it in. We all saw that. But that was just from allowing pressure. And I felt that when teams are at the bottom and they take a lead against top teams like Sundowns, they tend to just automatically do that. Chiefs have been doing it also before they went on this good run now. Chiefs as well. After scoring it, they just automatically, it's just like a subconscious thing where they all just go back and start, defending very deep. I felt that the game was there for Leopards, and I felt that Leopards actually deserved a little bit more out of the game than they lost. You had Kabwe from a bad clearance. He had a shot that was brilliantly saved. It had a deflection. You had Karuru's free header. So I felt that they deserved a lot because they actually they competed with Sundowns, and they definitely deserved a little bit more out of the game than what the results actually showed.
So from a coaching perspective, what's missing there when as the coach, we know Lono CM, especially after the game, you could see he couldn't believe how they didn't see this one through as far as just getting a point out of this one. But from a coaching perspective, how do you coach that professionalism, the fact that your players don't sit back and invite pressure now? How do you coach your team to stay on the front foot? Because it almost seems a psychological thing where they get the lead and think, oh man, this is about as good as we're going to get, is this goal, instead of going for more, instead of exerting more pressure. How does a coach teach that out of the system of those players?
I think at this point, this is not where you teach. This is professional. This is high level stuff. And you cannot be having professionals that are adopting that mentality at this age. Because now if you're going to start coaching players at this level, then what are we saying to the development that we have? So we have to look at other means of actually getting players ready, psyching them up. Maybe the exchange from one coach that has left to another maybe had played a role in this game. Maybe they know a certain pattern of play that they are accustomed to or that they are used to when they get a goal up, so how they defend or how they attack or how they set themselves up, because it showed. Once they scored, they set back, which was uncharacteristic from them to actually do that, because Sundowns were actually finding it difficult to play their fluidity, play their combination play, try to break Leopards down. In fact, they had the upper hand on this game. They knew the field much better than Sundowns. They pressed Sundowns. They made sure that maybe for me, the reason why I thought they went in that sense was because if you look at them, they have now four losses. They're coming from three losses, a win and a draw. So I think them getting one goal already, they have thought to themselves that maybe now we got to win. At least we're going to move a step up. So I think that was the biggest mistake from them to sit back. Siema felt hard done by some of his players that actually didn't adhere maybe to the game plan that they had, because I'm sure he would have had the mentality to let's go out there and attack Sundowns, because he knows that Sundowns had more than 10 players that were injured. So having a bulk of your squad, having a 60% of your squad that is injured, it gives you an upper hand. So I'm sure he had planned differently now, and then the player took another direction.
We speak about injuries, and a man coming back from injury was very important today in Peter Shalulile. The energy, Shway, to be so critical from minute 1 until the 100th minute of the game. That's what you get when you play players who are so inclined to playing at a high level. He's just showing that he is indeed a Sundowns player, but he even says himself that this is not the best me. him operating at this level, coming in, being so formative, getting 2 goals on the day, and keeping his team at the top of the table goes to show the depth, the quality, the pieces of the puzzle that the coaches have to work with moving forward. And you almost, at one point when Leopards take the lead, you think, oh, we might have a game, but the cream rises to the top in the end.
Yeah, I think for me was, and even Siema will probably agree that goal that they scored maybe came a little bit too early for them, because it came in the first minute of the second half, and he probably knew that was the mentality of the team, was to just drop back and just sit there and start absorbing a whole lot of pressure.
But Shoaib, he's the coach, so explain that to me. When players take on that decision, is that in direct contravention on what the coach would have told you? Because surely as a coach, you wouldn't have instructed your players to just sit back and soak it up. So where's the disconnect between what the coach says and what you do as players on the field?
Look,
the tone of the game allows
the coach. Yeah, look, the coach can tell you till you blue in your face. Start putting pressure. I mean, I remember I was a goalkeeper, and when and we knew, and it's rules in the game that at least 5 minutes after you score or after you concede is crucial. It's very, very crucial. So it's what you do in that 5 minutes will determine the next 15 minutes of the game and how the next 15 minutes will go. So I mean, as soon as Sundowns sent it, they were all the way back into their own box. And I mean, I know I'm exaggerating a bit, but that was their mentality. Instead of applying a little bit more pressure, and as much as you can go into halftime and you can say, hey, if we take the lead early, let's put pressure. The team will all nod their head and say, yes, coach, you're right, we're going to. And then you'll look, and that's what I'm saying, as much as the coach would have said, look, even if we score early, let's put pressure and try and push for the second one. Subconsciously, there's just that thing about, hey, we've got the lead here, and they're already looking at after the 90 minutes, With regards to your question about Shalo Lili, he's a typical example of when coaches will always tell players, and I'm talking about athletes across the world in any sport.
Yeah.
The harder you work, the luckier you get. He's just a perfect example of that. I mean, if you look at the second goal, how he blocked Masia. Yes, his intention was to block Masia to give an open goal for the shot that was taken. And yes, it was luckily unfortunate for him that it came to him. But I mean, just that what he did was fortunate for him to come straight to him, and he could literally roll, as strikers would call it, because he knew where Masia was. And he just rolled Masia to his right, and he had obviously a 1-on-1 goal. There's nothing a defender could do at that moment, but he had it. And what Masia should have done was maybe either drop or should have just stepped up and got him on an offside position. And again, it's just experience, it's naivety. And I just felt that I was actually disappointed in Black Leopards and the way they went about it. The changes, yes, like I said before, there was quite a few that was forced. But also, I think that as you as a coach, you must know, Kabwe Kumalo, it's working for you. Continue. And Kabwe wasn't tired. I don't know if Sosi saw Kabwe injured. Kabwe was still sprinting to take the free kick, and there he saw the next thing was, I need to come off. And you could see the disappointment, because this was a game that he could even see, and it was working. It was
taking, yeah.
And then Siema comes, he brings a right-footed player on your left-hand side to cut in. Whereas the crosses was working, the shots across the goal mouth, those are things that was working. So I'm going to question Siema on this moment and ask him, why the changes you made, and you knew that certain things was working, why not just continue with that?
And that's a good question. So see, I mean, can you maybe try figure out why the coach went in that direction, considering he was on a good wicket with a partnership that was working so well?
I think Shoaib is quite right in terms of their left-hand side being the strongest in the game.
Yeah.
I think the reason being they would have seen that they've got a new youngster that was on that position, so they tried to exploit that, because most of the action was taking place on the left-hand side. Tactically, I'll also try and blame Siema for actually taking that boy out, because I don't know why would have actually worked against somebody that is delivering. Because if you look at a player that plays on the wing. This is how we categorize those players. How many crosses you put in, how many combinations play do you have, do you win your duels, your 1v1? And he was doing absolutely that. So what was the reason for you to take the player out and put a right-footed player? For him to cut in, and you cutting, because when a player cuts in, he's putting himself into more traffic than you trying to create width, so then you allow crosses in, because you've got strong players that are there. You have your Karulu and you have your Ramagalela who are going to finish, and they were eager and ready to get all those deliveries coming in the box. Now, immediately when the player went out, then they started dropping. They started trying to come into half spaces to receive the ball and try to take on players, which is now was a total opposite of the game plan.
That is a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, you you also look at you look at the substitutes that Sundowns made. I mean, they brought in Sereno, they brought in Charlie, Mukulise, they brought in Kapinga, and another word for substitute is impact players, and they made an impact. Yes, like I said again before, that it was forced injuries on Leopards off, but I mean, you bring on and that Ononugbo.
Yes.
He's Ononogbo, number 8.
Yes.
I mean, he came on, and that wasn't a forced change, and he came on to make an impact, and he did nothing. I mean, the first set piece, he couldn't even get it over the first wall. The second set piece on the edge of the box also, and then he was just lost on the field. So again, I'm going to say I think the decision making on the substitutes that was made. Yes, Abu Bakr came on. He did well. And yeah, I think when Bukwena as well, that came on and did well. They were working hard. They were fighting. So in that sense, was yes, one or two of them that came on was doing their jobs. But I mean, as the attacking players, you're coming on to make an impact, and he just didn't do any impact.
Okay. I mean, they'll be up against Chipa next, who obviously didn't get to play their game against Celtic. But sitting atop of the table, Calvin, did a trip on the road, managed to get maximum points. They've got a player now in Peter Shalulile who gets a brace upon return and will be in even finer form going into that one. How do you stop this train, I guess, is a question for those at Chipa who have the mission to try and, stop this runaway steam engine that is Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah, Sundowns is in fine form, especially Shaolile. He's got 6 goals now in 13 starts. I think for him, he's hot on his heels with Bradley Grobler. So it's a good competition to watch for strikers, always netting goals. I think for Chippa, it's going to be quite a difficult one. But I'm sure as a ball-playing team, they're going to make it difficult for Sundowns to actually play their type of play, their free-flowing game, because of the numbers that they have with many players that are injured. Because I mean, the back line in totality is non-existent, because you got like your Mandela is out, Sumaha is out. The back four, it's actually it's a mix and match. They're trying to fit puzzles. They are more creative when they go up front, which is, I feel, if they continue to press teams high up front as quick as possible, they always profit from that. It proved on this game as well. But when it comes to the defensive department, I see them struggling. So they try to make shift within that. If they try and press teams high up, if you could hear Steve Compella was always shouting when the ball gets it back at Leopards back line, so that they don't launch a long one, because they know that once they get into a second ball, the contest is the contest in the middle. They tend to lose it, because they know they're always going to have 3 at the back and then the overload in the middle. So that it's going to be an interesting game. But knowing Mangoba and Steve, they're going to plan quite differently for Chipa, because they know they're ball playing team. So they're going to allow them to actually to play the game and then try to actually play on a transition.
Okay, and then
I think it's
sorry, Craig, I was going to ask you your thoughts as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just think it's going to be a good test for Sundowns and the defense. With regards to obviously Mbala having a red card now, and then you only have Harold Majadi Bodu, which is a right fullback, and I'm quite excited to see what are they going to do, and who they're going to play in the central league pair. Are they going to bring Mkhize in the middle and bring Harold on at the back, in the right back position, or are they just going to try and keep maybe Kakana there? I mean, Kakana obviously dropped in there today, just to fill in the gap. So it's going to be exciting, and obviously with Chipper having not played this evening, they'll have more time of more rest time.
As well, yeah.
They'll be a lot, they'll be a lot more fresher, and it's going to be a good encounter. So I'm excited to watch a ball playing team against a fairly makeshift defense of Sundowns.
Yeah, there we go. Anthony Lafont maybe will get a run out against his former team as we look ahead to that one. 3-0, they won their last game cheaper against the very same opponents in Black Leopards, it has to be said. So obviously not getting to play today, but will play against Mamelodi Sundowns at the weekend. They're sitting atop of the pile at the moment. And of course, hot on their heels are the likes of, you have SuperSport United, and you've also got the likes of Swallows, who are also hot on their heels, having played a game less. Those two teams who are on 27 points. So if they win their next game, there'll be a tie. But Mamelodi Sundowns do enjoy the superior goal difference at the moment. So one to look ahead to at the weekend. Of course, alongside the derby, which sees Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. Pirates sitting in 5th, Chiefs sitting in 7th. No matter what happens there, though, even if Chiefs win, they won't go above Pirates, but can get within a point of them. Gents, thank you very much for that quick roundup of the one encounter that we got to enjoy this evening. In terms of your picks for the weekend, games you're looking forward to, obviously, we've spoken about Sundowns trying to keep the pace going at the top of the table. We've spoken about the derby. As far as other fixtures that maybe pique your interest, any of them jump out at you?
Yeah, Morocco Swallows and SuperSport is going to be a quite exciting game. Besides, obviously, the derby. The derby just gonna, the derby's gonna come with its own bragging rights at the end of the day. And I think at the moment, if I look at the football,
but it's a must-win game for Pirates, you would say, Shwebe, the derby. In terms of that project of trying to win the league, like they have to win the game at the weekend, surely.
Yeah, I think the starter that they have now at the moment, I just don't see them competing with SuperSport Swallows even. Yes, I know it's early days, but they're gonna have to have a good run of form. And if you look at the games that they've just been playing, they're just conceding, which we all know. If you concede, it's very difficult to win leagues if you're regularly conceding. And it's not like it's teams that are outplaying them. It's just bad defending at times. And I think that is what should be the biggest concern with them, is that they're quite vulnerable at the back. And the team that's vulnerable at the back, and we've spoken like today, I mean, we've seen, yes, Leopards outplayed. Sundowns had good moments, but even with Sundowns' makeshift defense, you still had, you could look and see a bit of solidness in solidity. There we go. Solidity in their defense, and you just don't see that with Pirates. You always see, there's a moment that they're going to concede.
Interesting. Okay, so see, I mean, there are some cracking games. Obviously, Amazulu on Friday will be looking to carry on the momentum, because for Benny, it's a bit of a stop-start to his tenureship there. You have Golden Arrows, who are going to be taking on Maritzburg United. Leopards host TS Galaxy. TTM in action against Bloom Celtic. But yeah, I mean, that SuperSport United and Swallows game also does catch the eye. Are you willing to venture a prediction for how that one pans out?
Oh, that's a kind of tough one, man. Oh, yeah, that game could go either way.
Yeah.
But I see Swallows trying to actually to redeem themselves from the performance that they had playing against Sundowns. So they'll be motivated to also win, because Sundowns won today. So they will always want to keep the pressure up from the top, and it's good for them that they pick up maximum point at the first half of the league, and then that it placed them into a better position in the league. So I think what they're looking for is to take each game as it comes, and try to get as maximum point as possible. Whatever that they get on the road, I think the mandate from the coach is at least get a point and to lose, so that you stiffen up the competition at the top.
No, for sure.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with a Super Sport win.
A Super Sport win.
Super Sport win 2-1.
And then that makes them title contenders, or do we still don't attach that to them? Because we need to decide, guys. If you're winning games against the teams at the top and you're going second and first, it can't now be that you're, just there playing for survival. Does that then make them challengers for the title?
To be honest, I don't see anybody competing with Sundowns. I think Sundowns is probably going to win this league with maybe 2 or 3 games left.
Comfortable.
It's gonna be a crunching time the next 10 games from now up, until the last 5. But I think Sundowns is going to start breaking away now. The reason I'm saying that is because Swallows' depth, they don't have the depth that can maintain what they are doing. If they were to have 5-6 injuries and 2 suspensions, I don't see them there. So that is why, and it's going to come. Games are coming thick and fast. The reason why I'll go with Sundowns winning this league quite comfortably at the end of the season is because of their depth and the quality in their depth. That is where I see it. Super Sport as well. They've just got a good 13, 14 players. If they were also to pick up some suspensions or injuries as well. For example, Grobela. You have Kabuza, that's also helping him out. But if Grobela were to be injured, you can't just solely rely on Kabuza.
Sure.
I think the same could be said with Swallows as well. The same could be said with Swallows. If Kamaldeen is out of form, that means there's no goals for them. So
that's right. That's what I was saying. So with Swallows is that's why I say Sundowns will run away with this league. Swallows is just there now, which I agree, but I don't think they're going to be there forever because of the depth.
No. I'm not disputing the fact that Sundowns is going to run away with it. I'm just actually pointing out that also Swallows have a similar problem with a similar problem with Super Sport. If Grobela actually gets injured or Hamazin gets injured, then you have a stagnant performance in the team. So with Sundowns, the only thing that can make them go all the way out is because they've got a good personnel, they're well coached, coaches which are there understands the type of players that they've bought and how they need to use them. Today the character showed up, it played out, and then they maximized their point. Because I was looking at it in the form that if Sundowns don't take a draw out of this game, I think it was a fair result. But for them to scrap a win, I didn't see it after the red card that they got, and with their makeshift of defense that they had. But again, you look at the personality and the captain now, which is Kekana, who's actually being plotted in a more advanced role than defensive. But then again, he came back and then he showed his quality in terms of reinforced defense and keeping the discipline and the shape. Could have been in another way, or he would have not played. But I think again, I would have went in a different way. I would have actually started with Jali, maybe leave Mabue out for this one, just to consolidate in the middle. Because if you don't break the middle, there's no way that you're going to get at the back. The only way that's going to happen is going to be on the second ball. Again, if you just touch in a little bit on the impact players that came in, Kulisi, I think he gave a good energy and a good account of himself. He proved to the technical team that his substitution was actually well needed for somebody to refresh the game and put it into a positive score, because the goal came on his side with the energy that he had.
Okay. Thanks, gents. Appreciate that. Just to give you a quick roundup, once again, the table sees Mamelodi Sundowns on top of it in number 1 with 30 points. SuperSport United and Swallows in second and third, respectively, with 27 points. And at the bottom, you have 3 teams tied on 9 points, the lowest of which is Chakuma. Then you have Black Leopards and Maritzburg United, with Bloem Celtic and TS Galaxy sitting above them in 13th and 12th, respectively. Gents, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Let's look to the weekend and see what happens. Some cracking games on the go. We'll see how they pan out, and we'll obviously discuss those as and when they happen. To you who's been on YouTube tuning in just for this quick wrap up, it is to discuss what had happened earlier today up in the north, where Mamelodi Sundowns walked away with all 3 points, having won 2-1 against Black Leopards, with the Celtic and Chipa game having to be postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. For myself, Gamza, a big thank you to Schwabe and a big thank you to Kelvin. Guys, I'll catch you later. And to everyone who's been tuned in,